Hey guys, so which interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Samira basics guide, and now what this is gonna be a new thing where basically, if you guys remember, my complete guides basically used to be a first part talking about like the skills leveling order, like combos, tips and tricks, as well as going through the build and then the gameplay. Now I find those videos were a little bit too long, and I normally have to refer people to checking out the skills leveling order, combos, etc. Back to like that complete guide anyway. So I thought instead, let me separate and talk about the overview, skills, leveling order, combos, and tips and tricks in a separate video, which I'm now going to call the basics guide, because it really is the basics of a champion, and the whole goal of this is to make it as short as possible, at the same time give you all the information you need to start playing the champion, except the build. So then separately we're going to do complete guides where we're going to talk only about the build and also the gameplay itself, and then of course we'll still have our supplementary guides and our commentary guides, but basically this is going to be our first basics guide. So anyways, let's jump into talking about Samira herself. She's one of the champions that I was most excited about for playing in patch 4.2 after the update was released. And basically Samira is the shortest range ADC in the game, same as Lucian. And she mainly relies on throwing herself into the middle of the enemy team to blast up to 5 enemies at one go with her ultimate. So Samira works very well with champions that have CC, for example supports like Thresh, Alistar, or like Nautilus for example, and also works very well with anybody else on your team that has CC like Malphite or Set for example. And she doesn't really want enchanters as her lane partner. She prefers to have engagers, although certain enchanters like Nami or Janna will work fine as well. Samira is sort of like a melee version of Katarina. She can 1v9 an entire fight, but she's also extremely weak and susceptible to CC. So the main challenge and way you show off skill in Samira is knowing when to go in fights. You don't just dive head first into fights when enemies have all their spells up. You want to wait until they use their CC, and you want to preferably pick Samira in team comms that the enemy team is lacking in CC, or it has very little point and click CC. So she can very easily get blown up by the enemy team if she gets CC'd, and if she doesn't, she can easily blow up the entire enemy team. So Samira is one of the harder ADCs to play, has a little bit of a strange kind of playstyle, but at the same time is one of the most fun ADCs to play. So anyways, with the overview out the way, let's jump into the practice mode and talk about her skills, as well as her leveling order, her combo and tips and tricks, etc. But of course, first up, we're going to be talking about Samira's skills. Okay, so let's head over to the jungle, and we're actually gonna head over to a new spot here, and you guys will understand why in a little while, because we need this blast plan for one of my explanations. But anyways, let's get all our skills first up. And alright, so for her skills, first up we're gonna take a look at her passive. So we're gonna spawn an enemy dummy. Now basically, every attack you give to the enemy dummy, you get a stack. Now, not every attack, but every unique attack. So for example, if I'm auto-attacking like that, that counts as one kind of attack. And if I do a Q, I gain another stack up to D. Then I auto-attack, I go up to C. Let's say I use my W, I go up to B. I auto-attack, I go up to A. And it goes all the way up to S. And S is your maximum stacks. Each stack basically gives you 2.5% movement speed, and also at maximum stacks you can cast your ultimate. You can't cast your ultimate if you don't have maximum stacks. That's kind of how Samira mainly works. So the second part of her passive, she has a range attack and a melee attack. So this is her ranged attack, of course still has the shortest range, and then she has a melee attack. As you guys can see, the melee attack does, let's full stack conquer, so it does 54 plus 9 damage, and the ranged attack does only 54 damage. So you can see that the melee attack does a little bit of increased damage, of course based on the fact it's melee and it's higher risk. Of course you do want to have that. So the next part of the passive is why Samira loves to work with engagers, which is basically if an enemy gets knocked up, she can increase their CC duration by 0.5 seconds, or if they are, for example, stunned, you can dash towards the enemy. So for example, if I blast plant this guy, you can see that I increased his knockup duration. So I'm gonna show you guys that with another plant if I can find one. Okay, there's none there. Maybe we'll go into the enemy jungle and try to find a plant there. There we go. So here, I'm gonna put a ward here so we can see. But basically, you guys can see if we blast plant the enemy dummy, we can dash towards the enemy and kind of increase their CC with a little bit of a small barrage of attacks. So anyways, let's go into what her skills actually does. Those are her passive. So first up is her Q. So her Q has a melee version and a ranged version like her passive. So the ranged version is basically just a skill shot where you try to launch a bullet at your opponent. The melee version is basically just a slash that hits everybody in the area. So if I put multiple enemy dummies here, you guys can see how that works. So here you guys can see this slash is going to hit everybody, but the ranged version can only hit one enemy at one time. Okay, so next up is her W. So her W basically is a spin for like half a second, which both does damage. So this first part does damage, the second part does damage again. But this destroys all incoming projectiles. So it's basically like an AoE Yasuo wind wall that lasts for 0.5 seconds. Really, really strong, of course. Next up is her E. So her E is a dash, basically. So you have to target an enemy, or you can even target other things like, I'm not sure if you can target, you can target, no, you can't target a ward, but you can target the tower. So for example, you can do this, you can dash through the tower, about to die to that tower, but anyways. So you can dash through an enemy, basically. It does damage to whichever enemy you dash through. So for example, if I dash through all three of them, I'm going to deal damage to all three of these enemies. And if you double click, you will automatically cast your Q in the path that you dash. So for example, you can see I double tap it. You can see that there's an explosion that follows behind me. That basically is your Q, and of course that will put your Q on cooldown. So once again, I'm going to demonstrate. So here you can see I double tap. Both my Q and E go on cooldown. And when you kill someone, your E gets reset and you get your E back up again. So now finally I'm going to go over what her ult does. So as I mentioned, you have to maximum stack to get your ulti. And when you get to your ulti, you can of course hit it, and it's gonna blast whoever is around the area. And you can walk around when this happens. However, it is you will walk really slowly, basically. So I'm gonna put myself to 0 CD so I can, you know, stack out a little bit faster. So here you can see this is my normal walking speed, and when I cast my ulti, I get a reduced walking speed, and it can basically hit everybody around the area, all up to the 5 people, which is basically the entire enemy team. So that's it for her skills and abilities. Now I'm going to talk about her leveling order. So if I reset level, at level 1 you want to take your Q, level 2 you want to take your E, pretty much every single game, and then you of course take your W. You max Q first, take ulti when available, and then you max E second, and finally you max W last. Forgot to take ulti there, right? Yeah. So that is the leveling order for Samira. And now I'm going to talk about Samira's combos. So I'm going to head over to the river for this because it's a little bit easier to see with more space around, not all the walls and all that. So basically you want to stack up to S. So there's a simple way you can do this. Basically, if you auto attack, W, double tap, and auto attack again. Okay, I think I kind of messed that up. But if you auto attack W, double tap E, and then auto attack again, this basically will make it such that you reach S instantly. So if I do auto attack, W, double click, auto attack, you can see I get to S instantly, and then I can ulti straight away. So this is very effective, of course, if you have like if you are in a team fight and you want to quickly stack your ulti. So once again, auto attack W, everything else, and auto attack. So okay, let me slow it down for you guys so it's easier to see. So you want to auto attack once, W, double tap E, and then auto attack, which the game will automatically do for you anyway, and then you can cast your ultimate. So this is the fastest way that you can get your ultimate, and pretty much is the only Samira combo you really need to know, because the other way of stacking up your combo is like you auto attack Q, you wait for your Q to come back up, you auto attack Q again, and like slowly stack it up. So I'm going to talk about some tips and tricks for Samira, and I only really have 2 of them. The first one is waiting for enemy CC. So even though you know how to do this combo, you don't necessarily want to, for example, the fight is happening here, you're coming late to the fight, you don't want to just walk up here, instantly like do your combo, and then instantly just go in with the ulti, because you have no idea what CC the enemy team has, you don't know if they used it or not, and that kind of deal. So you don't want to just go in without knowing like what enemy team CC they have, and that will basically get you killed really, really quickly. So you want to wait for the CC to be gone. The second thing is you don't necessarily always have to fast combo. For example, the fight is already ongoing, you're already here in the fight. You don't have to fast combo and go in all the time. You can do it slow. Like for example, you attack, you Q, you attack, you're already up to C, and then you wait. The fight's still happening, you're auto attacking, you're not gaining stacks, but you're still auto attacking. Then you Q auto attack again, you're like stuck at A, and then you spawn an opportunity, you dash in, and then you ulti, for example. Although one thing I will recommend is whenever you're dashing in, whether you're doing the fast combo or the slow combo, you generally want to press W when you're dashing in if you have it up, because the moment enemies see you dashing in, they know what's up and they're gonna try to CC you. So sometimes this W that you cast when you're dashing in can block, like for example, some kind of crucial I don't know, kind of CC that is flying at you, maybe like a brand Q flying at you that's gonna protect you against the stun or something like that. And yeah, so it's pretty much it for Samira. Now look out for her updated complete guide that I will be releasing at the same time as this video explaining her build and her gameplay. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and goodbye.